Welcome to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. Okay everybody, let's talk about The Boys Season 2, Episode 4, and all of the Easter eggs, references, and things that you might have missed.
Muzzle tough.
The title of this episode is Nothing Like It in the World, which is also the title of the comics arc from issues 35 to 36. Now, those issues gave the backstory of Mother's Milk, which was partially adapted in this episode. Basically, they kept that MM's dad was a lawyer suing Vought for screwing over his family, but they left out the part about the superpowered breast milk. The episode opens with Doppelganger impersonating Madeline Stillwell, just like he did in Season 1. Did this fool you? It did me. I was a sucker. Tell me in the comments if you thought that Madeline was still alive. Homelander is watching Taxi Driver, which according to Amazon Trivia is one of his favorite movies, and he strongly identifies with Travis Bickle. Now, if you're not familiar, this movie is about a lonely, homicidal man who feels rejected by society. So he becomes a vigilante to win the affections of Sybil Shepherd and Jodie Foster, who's kind of his surrogate daughter. There are many parallels here with Homelander, another white male who feels rejected by society and seeks the approval of two mother figures and a surrogate son. And Homelander's really got this weird milk obsession, right? That's going to come back in a gross, symbolic way. Taxi Driver's most famous scene is Travis facing himself down in a mirror.
You talking to me?
Which Homelander kind of does at the end of this episode. And Travis Bickle ends his rampage by miming his own suicide, while Homelander kind of kills himself at the end of this episode. In fact, there are a lot of parallel storylines in this episode. Both Becca and Starlight are trying to gain freedom from Vought, and they're constantly being watched. They meet their secret lovers at bridges, one above and one below. Becca meets above because this is representing her way out, and Annie meets below because she's hiding her true self from the world. And the channel Heavy Spoilers pointed out that everyone in this episode is looking for some kind of love, but is ultimately denied it. That's why the Deep's wife hunt is a framing device used for the episode. The wife auditions are based on a Vanity Fair article about Tom Cruise that claimed the Search of Scientology created an audition process to find him an acceptable life partner. Annie talks about
walk around the 7 Tower with this knot in my gut. Just wondering if Homelander is waiting around every corner to kill me.
And this is a knot that Homelander very nearly makes literal in the elevator. He also mentions,
Maeve begged me to spare your life.
And he's referring to this scene from Season 1.
She obviously fell for this Hugh Campbell guy, and he's pumping her for information. So back off, leave her alone.
When MM says,
the Spice Girls, right?
He's referring to Butcher's recruitment speech back in Season 1.
You put them together. Now they're gone down. Spice Girls.
Annie joins the road trip, claiming she can visit her cousin Sally in North Carolina. Now, according to Amazon's Trivia, the two of them haven't spoken since they were teenagers after Annie beat Sally in a singing contest. Black Noir monopolizes the time of a Vought tech to find Butcher. This is Annika, who helped Homelander find Translucent back in Season 1. And A-Train gets some bad news.
You're out, Tom.
Out of what?
Out of 7.
I'm out. He's being replaced by Shockwave, the soup he raced in Season 1, and this was hinted at by this New York Post headline in Episode 1 this season. To placate him, he's offered a series on Vought Plus, a riff on Disney Plus and Apple Plus. Now, this isn't just a one-off joke. It's a way of saying that Disney is using the unlimited bandwidth of a streaming platform to expand their media empire and create endless spin-offs of their IP.
We don't need Disney Plus, Scott!
Almost like the movies are the major leagues and Disney Plus is the minor leagues. So now, no upstart intellectual properties will have a platform to compete with them because Disney owns them all. In the same way, Vought monopolizes the superhero platform. And apparently, Vought Plus is also going to be the home of the reality show Citizen Starlight, which I thought was going to be a movie. MM is wearing a t-shirt for the People's Free Food Program. That's a real program created by the Black Panthers in the 70s to feed low-income families. There are a couple of neat little mentions in the marriage audition videos, like the Lovers of Villardo, that's the hugging skeletons. They're real, and scientists recently revealed that this one is actually your mom. Nah, I'm just kidding, they're actually 2 men. Yep, just 2 best friends hugging it out while the world ends. And this woman mentions,
like my last boyfriend was obsessed with Ed Sheeran.
Now, Ed Sheeran was an actor on the TV show Game of Thrones, who also had some success as a singer-songwriter. Becca name drops,
yeah, Carol Brady all day.
A reference to Florence Henderson's character on The Brady Bunch. She also threatened Homelander with her own suicide, and he actually kills himself later in the episode. That's another of those episode parallels that I was talking about earlier. The art department created hundreds of letters and signs for the rallies and the memorial, including one that says, "I want my Compound V," a reference to this Dire Straits song. There are a couple of interesting things to note in the North Carolina roadside. First is this billboard. that reads, "The baby you abort might be super." Notice the American flag cape like Homelander's. Now remember that for years people thought that super babies were miracles from God, and we've already seen that Vought is manipulating conservative Christians for their own propaganda, like how Homelander has become a religious icon. Speaking of which, there's this mural of Homelander with a Confederate flag cape. Now this shows that Homelander is adored by Southern conservatives, but also remember that this is the area where Liberty attacked this woman's brother.
I am a hero for killing a black piece of shit like you.
Liberty's racist views were clearly not only tolerated, but celebrated by the citizens in her area, at least some of them. Which brings me to Stormfront, her secret history, and how she fits into the symbolism of this season's theme. After briefly hearing Annie's Translucent song on the radio, they turn to the car jam, "We Didn't Start the Fire." And look, Huey realizes that Annie must be the one because she loves Billy Joel while he was in the middle of convincing Robin that the Piano Man was amazing when
Robin?
So out of Billy Joel's whole catalog, why did they choose this song? It lists a lot of things that have happened in the latter half of the 20th century. Basically, everything goes bad after Billy Joel stopped being a child. The fire in the song is referring to the destructive, evil nature of mankind.
JFK, blown away, what else do I have to say?
The fire of rage that drives us to create racism, war, and greed. And do you know what album We Didn't Start the Fire debuted on? Stormfront. Stormfront, the character, is the fire. In the comics, Stormfront was a Nazi, created in Germany just before World War II. Vought turned him into a hero. Now, with the revelation that Liberty is at least 70 years old, it's looking like she could have also been the original suit, created by Dr. Vought in Nazi Germany. This would also explain why World War II is mentioned in Episode 1.
Got his doctorate from Munich. In '39, Hitler appointed him chief physician at Dachau, where he enjoyed a ready supply of human subjects.
And why her earrings are lightning bolts like the Nazi SS symbol. She even says,
You know, change with the times. God knows I did.
and we also learn about the subtle racist ties to superhumans. In the talk show with Maria Menounos, we hear
92% of heroes are Caucasian.
Vought chose 92% of their soups to be from white families, meaning that the other 8%,
African American, 6%. Latin and Asian, each 1%.
Meanwhile, most of the non-white soups we've seen have been terrorists or bad guys or villains. This subtly ties into the idea of Nazism, white superiority, and the more racist conservative movements in the South.
We're a different fucking breed. You've been helping these fucking mud people.
But most importantly, Stormfront tells Homelander this.
You don't need 50 million people to love you. You need 5 million people fucking pissed.
Now this, along with her rampant meme creation, is how politics works today. Political parties don't try to win a solid majority. They just need to win by 1% of the votes while appealing to their most extreme, most dedicated constituents. There's a subtle indication of this when Huey mentions serial killers John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer. Both pretended to be nice, amiable people to lure their victims into their homes. Heck, John Wayne Gacy even wore a clown disguise, much like the soups wear costumes. Now that's all the references and Easter eggs that I found, but if you know of any, let me know in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.